Welcome to the High Value Sales Show of Eversprint.com. I'm Malcolm Lui, the managing member of Eversprint, and today we're speaking with Darin Anderson, the chairman and CEO of Salas O'Brien, a facility planning, design, construction management, and commissioning firm. Welcome to the show, Darin.
Morning, Malcolm. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Doing great, thanks. Good to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, good to have you here as well. Darin, you grew your company's revenue from $24.3 million in 2014 to $59.7 million in 2017, a 146% increase. And in 2018, you hit around $101 million. Before we talk about how you grew your company so fast, can you briefly share what your company does beyond my quick intro and how your company differs from the competition?
Yeah, thanks, Malcolm. You know, we, as you mentioned, we're a facility planning, engineering, kind of construction management and commissioning firm. We take care of high-value clients, meaning institutional clients that own their real estate for the long term, and we help them make decisions on their facilities so that they are investing properly and that they have the most reliable, most efficient, and most economical systems that they utilize.
All right. And how would you differ from other companies that do some similar services?
Yeah, I would say there are several differentiators. One is that we have a nationwide network for national clients. So there are very few firms that actually have a national network like we do. But I'd say at the end of the day, it's our talent and our people. We have 95% retention of our team members year over year, and that allows just constant relationships being built and consistency with facilities that we're working on so that there's a high value and a trust. Our business is all a people business. It's, do you trust the people who are taking care of your facility? Because every facility is unique and different. And so when you've got the same people working on your facility and you know and trust them and you appreciate that they have the skills and technical expertise to deliver for you, you just don't change. And so our people are highly technical. We're known as kind of the engineer's engineer, and they're trusted every day by the most revered, I would say, institutions in the world.
All right. Now, for people like myself who aren't in your line of business, what does it mean by commissioning?
Mm-hmm. So after we design a facility, we engineer a facility, then it's actually constructed. And so we hire typically with the owner, the contractor, based on criteria of not just cost, but really more than anything else, qualifications and experience. And so then after they build the facility, we make sure that the building systems are operating effectively, that the building automation systems are operating effectively so that consistent with our specifications and standards, the facility is going to operate just as we had expected and told the customer it was going to.
Right. And in regards to the range of the facilities that you are doing, how wide is it? Are you talking just office buildings only? Are you talking about manufacturing plants? Are you talking about stadiums? What's the range of what you do?
Yeah. Sure. So I would say our, again, more institutional clients where they're really high value projects. So everything from healthcare to data centers, telecom switches, to laboratories, universities, K-12. Yeah, that's kind of the range. We do a lot of large industrial type of facilities, so large manufacturing types of facilities. We also do even a large utility, transmission and distribution for large utilities.
So you pretty much do it all.
A lot, yeah.
Is there anything that you don't do?
Yeah, we haven't done, we do a lot of office and commercial and corporate work as well, I would say, and even we do retail for several retail customers, but where we really differentiate ourselves is on complex types of facilities or where there's a large program management where there's hundreds and thousands of facilities that we're basically outsourcing the operation for our client and that we're able to get the throughput and things done quickly. But the work that we do is really focused on high value where companies will own their facilities for the long term and they want to make the best decisions because the cost of a facility is about a third up front. So the initial building cost represents about a third of the total facility cost over the life cycle. And then over the next 40 years, you've got all your operations and maintenance, and you've got your utility spend, so your electricity, your water, and gas. And so by the decisions that you make in the first third on the initial project costs will determine what the remaining 2/3 or more of the facility costs are going to be. So we help our clients make those decisions so that they're the best decisions, and that they help be a strategic advantage at the end of the day for their clients.
Right. Now you grew your business pretty rapidly, right? 24 million in 2014, 2018, you're at 101 million. So you almost 4x'd your business. Mm-hmm. Was that through acquisitions or all organically?
Yeah, up until 2018, our growth was almost 50% via mergers and acquisitions. We call them mergers. While they were technically and legally acquisitions, we call them mergers just from a philosophy. Our approach is to partner with these other regional firms that are like-minded, and then the other 50% was through organic growth. So we've been blessed with a balance of both merger acquisition growth, but as well as organic growth, and that's nice. Something that's really important for us.
Now, I think you touched upon the biggest driver of your growth over the past 4 years. I mean, one is, of course, mergers and acquisition, and the second one was the organic growth. And the organic growth, I assume, is being driven by your people?
Yeah, it's where we try to merge with firms that are kind of best in class in their region and or their industries that they service. And our thesis is to one, expand into those new territories and bring our national clients, and to be able to service those national clients even better through regional growth. But then it's also to bring new service lines. So we've been able to grow the regional clients that we've merged with. We've been able to bring our national clients into those regions, but also to bring new services into our existing organization that maybe that firm that we acquired with has a different skill set that we didn't have before. So it's a combination of adding new geographies, bringing additional clients into those regions that they didn't have previously, but also bringing on new service lines that we didn't have before, and expanding that across all of our regions. And so those have been really helpful. To actually been beyond kind of our imagination. And we've had a lot of new clients that are seeing our geographic footprint and the quality of the people that we bring in and their expertise, and they're saying, "Gosh, you guys can really help us." Right.
Now, can you give an example of what you mean by new services? Because I almost would have thought that you've been doing the business for so long that you already covered all the bases or most of the bases.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So I'd say earlier on we were known really more just on the mechanical, electrical services. And so as we grew, we brought on our commissioning, really a strong commissioning organization, and we've continued to grow our commissioning team throughout our geographies. So that's been one addition. We've also added a technology group, so really all the AV, security, and access. And so while we were doing it, it was not a primary or core function. And so what we've done is really now added core teams that are only focused on that service line. And so we've been able to grow organically just through targeting customers that need that service, bringing on people and talent that really are exceptional in that area. And as a result, we now have 650 team members across the organization that are seeking those opportunities, where before we weren't seeking them out. So it's when they're working with a customer and they realize, oh, I got a technology AV structured cabling need, low voltage, that they know who to reach out to, and we've got dedicated people who we trust and believe in to handle that work. Same thing on the commissioning side. In addition to that, some other regions weren't doing telecom central offices, and now we've developed that competency in that region and grown their business.
Right. So I guess previously, when you didn't have those services, you would just work with another partner.
Correct. Yeah. Or they would just choose somebody else. So now we're able to capture, more service with those clients. So sometimes they would just go outside because they would trust us if we had the competency and capability. And just because when the clients come to us, they go, "We know if you're going to do it, you're going to do it really well. But we said we didn't do it before, and now we're saying, yeah, we can do this, and we've got the right people that are really outstanding in it."
All right, awesome. Now you mentioned just to recap what you shared with me then, at least two drivers you mentioned to me now of your growth over the past 4 years. One, of course, are the people, 95% retention rate, the engineers. as you put it, your clients trust them and are comfortable working with them for future projects and an ongoing basis. And then mergers and acquisitions, or mergers, which give you the opportunity to expand your footprint geographically and also service-wise. Is there a third driver?
Yeah, I think it's just the continued focus of the organization. When we look for mergers, it's really important for us that a lot of people do mergers poorly, and I think we've been really very successful in our mergers because we're finding like-minded organizations. The geography addition is an important thing. Adding the service capabilities is another, but more important than anything else is adding the leadership talent and expertise of the types of clients. So when we're looking for a merger partner, we're making sure that the character, the philosophy, the values are the same. And our goal is to take highly capable, highly functional teams, not people that are looking to retire, but that love what they do. The difference in our organization, as you have learned, or people know working with us, is that they're very passionate. They love what they're doing. They can't imagine doing anything else, and they will do it for the rest of their lives. They may just not want to do it for 50, 60 hours a week, but they want to do it for 40 hours a week as they're getting, more in their latter years. But their talent and knowledge and skill base is so important. So retaining the team members and developing and mentoring our junior team members to be leaders has been really essential. We've only lost 3 mid-level or senior level leaders over the last 14 years in our organization of over, we'll call it 120 people roughly today. And that just leads to that continuity and success of our team members. And they deliver great work. They're fully engaged. And now we are now a 100% ESOP organization, meaning that our employees have 100% of the ownership of the organization. We just transitioned to an ESOP 2.5 years ago. I'll even go back 14 years ago. I purchased with a partner 85% of the company from Carl Salas, who he and Dan O'Brien had founded the firm over 40 years ago. And over the next 12 years, we continue to develop 43 additional shareholders in the organization, just as that spirit of, hey, we're in this organization, this professional services organization together. We want to make sure that our heroes and drivers, those who are leading the business, are participating in the growth and equity of the organization. And that engagement has been wildly valuable, that they are fully vested in what we do. We're aligned in our interests completely. There's nobody going off for the rails. So when you have that total focus and alignment of your values together, really exceptional things are possible. And there was just a continued kind of desire by more of our employees to be shareholders. And we had always been very open book and transparent on what we do. People could ask any questions at all the time of me. And so 2.5 years ago, we decided to become 100% employee owned. So now all of the employees are shareholders in the organization, and that ownership transition is happening over the next 12 years, basically. But I'd say it's been very, very well received. And now it's kind of what I call the holy grail, is that when you've aligned all of your team members with ownership in the organization, they all completely appreciate what it takes to run and drive the business, and whether they receive it in performance bonuses or whether they receive it in appreciation, the value of the shares, we're all aligned together. There's not a shareholder group and then employees. We are all team members. We're all partners together in the success of our business. And it's a continued evolution of our organization. I think it is an additional strategic advantage of our company, is that our values are all totally aligned across the organization, from the first person who is right out of school to me.
Right.
So it's exciting to see.
Yeah, it is. Now, how do you distribute the ownership? Is it pretty even all throughout your employees, or is it pretty lumpy? Like 10% of the employees own 80% of the company.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So the ESOPs are highly regulated through Department of Labor. So the mechanism is basically that your cash compensation, with a limit, I think, of $250,000 a year, somewhere along those lines, to the total cash compensation in the organization. So it's a very equitable, based on what your valued contributions are. So if we distribute 50,000 shares, I think roughly we distribute 45,000 shares a year out of 1 million. So 45,000 shares are distributed based on what your cash compensation is to the total cash compensation in the organization. So it's a very equitable distribution of shares that we make on an annual basis.
Right.
Then,
okay.
Yeah, then we do an annual evaluation, and people see what the value of their shares are this year, and they see the growth in the value of the shares from the previous years as well. So yeah, it works really well.
All right. Nice. Now, looking ahead a little bit well, actually, let me ask one other question for you. When you acquire new firms, do they continue to run standalone and on their own with the leadership team that's in place, or are they merged into the family and restructured a bit more than that?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. Yeah, so I think that's one of the great appeals for us from a companies and clients, I guess say companies, firms that are looking and evaluating us as an organization, is that we, as I think I mentioned earlier, they highly functional, very capable organizations that are really good at what they do in the industries that they service. So our goal is to not screw up. Basically, I say, don't screw up what's working really well. So we want them to continue operating just as they have before. We want the same decision makers, the same people scoping the projects, pricing the projects, delivering just the same way they did to their clients previously. So our goal is to continue to make sure that they're fully empowered. There's no change in the way they operate or the way they deliver to their clients. And what we want to do is to share our best practices across the organization from a standards, from a specification standpoint, so that they can embrace and take what makes sense for them, but they're not forced to do anything. So it's completely optional. We don't want to screw up their business. We want to make sure that they continue to deliver and own the decisions that they make every day. And that's why we're associated, because they're strong, vibrant firms. So what we do is we do marry our back office operations, where we make sure that we're on the same kind of operating systems, the same accounting systems. We have the same similar insurance programs. So all of the administrative functions are consistent across the organization from a marketing standpoint, reporting. And that, it really is, at the end of the day, the operations stay the same. We share best practices. We try to make each other better, but we standardize kind of the back office operations.
Right.
And our philosophy is everybody has to be the same or better off than they were before. We've never let anybody go, and it's always hard to find talent in this business. And so our philosophy going in is that everybody has to have the same or better benefit program they did before, and better opportunities than they had previously as well.
Right. And also, I imagine because they're now a bigger part of the family, those acquired companies now have more services that they can offer their existing client
Correct.
base,
Yeah.
and clients that are bigger that they might have had to pass on because they didn't have people across the country. Now they do. So I can see that.
That's absolutely right. Yeah. I mean, now, I'll give you a quick example, is that we expand their service line capabilities, and we're able to now bring more depth of experience to their clients. So up until last year, each merger that we've done, we've grown the business either from 2.5 to 4.5 times revenue in a period of 5 to 6 years. So it's been very successful, just growing the business organically, bringing new service capabilities, making sure we're investing in the business, whether it's marketing, promotion, and just having that additional depth and breadth of talent to the team really helps reinforce the regional team's position.
Yeah, definitely, I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
So for 2019, what revenue target are you looking for?
Yeah, we're projecting right now to hit 140 million in revenue, and our EBITDA has been in the high teens typically as well. So we expect to maintain that as well. It's been a combination. We just finished a merger with a firm that's based in Chicago and Denver, and they're an exceptional team, and so we expect good continued growth from them. It's a relationship that we've been working on for a while. And then we actually have 2 more mergers that we're working on right now, and I'm very excited about them, but it just takes time to nurture the relationship and make sure that it's going the right way. But our clients, we have still good organic growth that's happening across the organization, and the team is energized, and our clients are showing very well. We have an exceptional client base. I probably should be careful about our clients, but just because we have NDAs and they don't like to be aware, but I say we're working with. Wall Street Journal came out with an article about 2 months ago of the top 10 companies that are going to be investing in CapEx over the next decade, and we work with 6 of those top 10 customers. So when you're putting infrastructure in place, you can imagine, all software, computer, data center, telecom focused. We're working with all the big organizations, and then and many more. We work with over 50 different universities, doing everything from their power generation to all their utility infrastructure to building systems, and a lot of different cities and counties, and now a growing federal practice as well. So it's our practice is getting more diversified, and clients are realizing that, wow, we've got a lot to be able to bring and offer to clients, and it's more, we got to get the word out to our potential clients that haven't even heard of us, what we do. We don't have a big we don't have a big business development department. We don't have a sales team. Our team is all seller doers. The principal that you're talking to, or the vice president, is the person in the team who's going to be doing the work. It's not we have some sales group and then we have somebody else who is selling you the business. It's one and the same.
Right.
Our biggest challenge is getting out there and meeting people.
Yeah, well, it sounds like your business has grown quite well, despite not really having perhaps a formalized marketing program. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, I would say our marketing program has gotten much better. We're sharing the word of what we're doing, really more passively, to share case studies and experience, but we don't have a dedicated sales team for sure. We don't have it's shocking. Most people are stunned, but we don't have a dedicated sales or business development team. But we do have what I would consider to be today a pretty strong marketing program.
Okay. It is kind of shocking to not have a dedicated sales or business development team, but I think it also goes to show how, the only conclusion I can draw is that, one, your current clients are just doing more and more business with you. Plus, and then on occasion, I'm not sure they would help you a whole lot on the referral side, because you mentioned before, many of them are a bit reluctant, a bit uncomfortable, letting the world know what they're doing.
Yeah, I'll share. This is a little insightful, and we made this very conscious decision early on. Engineers, by and large, are not strong salespeople. That comes as probably no surprise to anybody. But what we've really focused is on, and instead of a client where they may have one project at a time and you have to go sell another project, we work with these institutional clients that have a lot of facilities, that have multiple, that just continually are changing out their facilities or equipment, and that always need work. So when you work with large clients that have large equipment and facility needs, there's always something going on. So our focus is on these types of clients. So we sell the relationship and build that trust one time, and they keep coming back to you. If you do good work, you take good care of them, they trust you, you price the projects the right way, and you've always got their back, the clients will keep coming back to you, right? It's like anything in life. It's a marriage, we call it. It's no different than the relationship with me and my team, is that they've got to be able to trust you. They got to know that you're going to look out for them, and the same thing with our clients, that if you're doing the right thing every day and you're taking good care of them, even if you make a mistake, you're going to do the right thing. And knock on wood, we've never had an E&O or professional liability claim in our organization's history over 40 plus years. And it's not to say we don't make mistakes, but when we do, we're going to make it right, and we're going to take care of the client at the end of the day. Right,
exactly. Now, you said before that you've got a pretty good marketing team. What are they doing for you?
Yeah, 14 years ago, 12 years ago, even 10 years ago, we really kind of sucked at marketing. We would respond to request for a proposal, and we would send out a letter proposal and maybe even some qualifications, but we really did not promote ourselves very well. Now, what we do is we send out almost at least weekly, if not even every other day, kind of a case study where clients, people who are connected with us, whether it's on LinkedIn or who are in our email database, we'll send out kind of a case study or profile of a specific project to the industry that they can learn from. So it shows, hey, what are other clients doing? What did we do for them? So that people can understand the knowledge share that's out there. What are the best examples, and what were the savings? What were the issues, the problem statements, and how was that solved? So that they can learn from it, so that if ever it comes up for them again, and also so that they can understand what their peers are doing. So we try to promote this knowledge sharing and knowledge ideas with one another, and through that, as the relationship builders, that hopefully people see that, wow, we're a good knowledge source and we have this expertise to draw from. So we hope that people pick up the call because they know and they trust us, and they also learn and see the values and the other clients that we associate with as well. Through that association, hopefully they see us as being that trusted advisor.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great strategy to maintain top of mind presence, right?
Exactly.
And with your institutional investors, it takes time for them to find the right partners for them to work with, right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So they don't want to switch them out every year. So
for sure,
when their current partner has a problem, then it creates an opportunity for you to see if you can help them.
You can imagine, just to your point, is that when you've been working on a complex, imagine you're at a university, right? Any major university next to you. It's a very complex facility. And so if you have 15 years of working knowledge and experience there, and all of a sudden you think you want to replace somebody for an extra $10,000 a year, you're at risk of that operation having some major failure, or being shut down, or losing it. And our fee typically on a project is 3-4% of a total project cost, but all the intellectual property, or I should say most of the intellectual property, happens in that 3-4% of our fees, as opposed to the construction cost of the project. So the client doesn't want to take away that intellectual property for an extra, $1,000, $10,000. They know that once that the engineers are coming on site, is that they know the facilities, they know the systems, they can get up to speed very quickly because they're so intimately familiar with it. Where it would take somebody else months and months, if not years, to be able to understand the complexity of the operation and how everything works. So we're so much more efficient because you have that institutional knowledge already of the client, and it would be hard to replace that oftentimes.
Right. So how do you win new business, right? Because the big institutions you want to work with, they already have partners, right, who are helping them with much of what you're doing, and as you mentioned now, it's pretty sticky, right? You don't want to make a change and bring on board someone who doesn't know everything that the current partner has learned over the past 10 years. So
sure.
How do you get new business?
That's a great question. So I would say on a local regional basis for local or regional clients, oftentimes people will move from our clients will get another job offer, and they will go to another location, and they will call us up because they know and trust us. So that's oftentimes what happens. So we maintain the relationship with their previous organization, and then somebody new goes to another place and says, hey, try these guys out, they're really, really good. So we get a lot of that referral business. I'd say that's most common for us, is just that referral business. And then I'd say second is that now there are very few customers, or I should say very few firms like us that are national in scope. And so we're getting so many inbound inquiries for companies that realize that we have a national footprint and can service these companies more quickly and more cost effectively with the highest level of competence. And so just not even a few months ago, Uber called us out of the blue on a Friday and said, gosh, we've got 12 different facilities that we want to build out. Can you give us a proposal by Tuesday? And we did. And they realized that they could contract with one firm as opposed to 4, 5, 6 different firms that, again, because they don't have national operations, they would have to contract with 4 or 5 different firms to do 10 or 12 facilities. But now they can contract with one firm. And because we have offices in those regions, that we don't have the airfare, we don't have the lost travel time, and we know the local codes. So we're saving money on airfare, we're saving money on lost travel time, and we know the local codes, so we can deliver the projects more quickly and with less risk than anybody else. So to coordinate that with one contract, one phone call, it lessens their administrative time as well as the total project cost. So we're getting more and more type of inquiries like that as well.
So how can you bang out a proposal in 3 days? Was it just a pretty simple project where they want you to explore how you can help them, and that was the proposal, or was it
Yeah,
somewhat of a
so that's a
cookie cutter?
combination of, yeah, so some projects are definitely more difficult than others. The Uber project was not a terribly complicated project. It was more of a, hey, we want to do these tenant improvements in these commercial facilities. How far away are they from our existing facilities, and what does the existing operation look like? So we had our teams in the regions put proposals together because they were local. They knew the facilities reasonably well, and they didn't have travel costs. And so we asked them basically within a day to give us their fee and proposal estimate based on some guidelines that we had provided, and they got it back, and we put one proposal together. So it was just a coordinated effort by all of our leaders within each of those regions to say, what is this going to take? Are there any unique or special requirements for these facilities that we need to be aware of? And anytime you put a scope of work together, you got to make sure that you're fully aware of what the facilities are like and what the challenges are going to be. So after doing that, the team just coordinated one proposal to the client and said, hey, we can do this for one contract, one price, and here's what it looks like, and here's when we can deliver that.
Great. Has the final decision been made on that proposal?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we in fact they're in progress right now on it. Mm-hmm.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Good deal. And it can grow, right, beyond to all
brand new,
other operations.
Yeah, brand new client for us. And again, they sought us out. We did not have a relationship with them previously, and they were looking for a firm, and no different. I mean, I can give you so many instances of companies that are reaching out to us that are national in scope, and instead of hiring 20 different AE firms or engineering and architecture firms, they can hire one to service all of them and ensure that the best pricing, the consistent delivery of documents, and a single point of responsibility. It's so much easier for them, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Having 25 different contracts to administer and lower travel costs and the same consistency of product.
Did the Uber folks share how they found you?
Oh, no, I don't know that. Yeah, it's a good question.
That would be interesting to find out how they came across it. Was it just a simple Google search, or were they on your emailing list in the past 5 years? And
it would be a good question.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. So to hit your $140 million target, you'll be growing your business 40% from 101 to 140 this year. What's the biggest obstacle that your team needs to eliminate to achieve this target?
That's a good question. I think we have a couple things. We've got several initiatives that we're working on. One is we're operating still on two different platforms right now from an accounting and operations, and so we're upgrading our systems to ensure that they are the same and consistent across the organization. And we are continuing to improve our database and marketing platform. So those are two areas that we're still continuing to make some systems improvements. While it's good today, we want to make it great. So the team is working on unifying our systems and standardizing the back office operations, which is good, just to make sure we're reaching out to our customers and that we can put proposals together more quickly and teams together more quickly. So that's one area. But really on the initiative is making sure that we're sharing our story with our clients and that we are communicating all of the service capabilities. Earlier on, some of our own even team members didn't even know the full capabilities of our organization. So we were focusing, making sure that our own team was aware of what our capabilities were, and then when the operations or the situation came up to the client needed some skills or services, that they knew that we could deliver that for them. So it's continued execution for us, making sure that our team is aware of what our full capabilities are across the organization, and that collaboration between the teams. Now having 22 offices, it's making sure that the teams are sharing resources and sharing utilization and selling each other's services. And it's just execution. For us. We have, as I mentioned, we just finished a merger and we've got two more this year. So that will bring probably about 2/3 of our growth this year. And then the other third will be just organic growth with new and existing clients.
Right. So how are you going to tell Like what metrics are you going to be measuring to assess how well you're doing with overcoming these obstacles?
So we look always very carefully how we're growing our existing client base. So I should say, so first one, just on a sales and growth standpoint, we always look at our proposal activity. We look at just first basic marketing metrics. How many people are seeing our information? How many people are looking at it? Do they download videos? Do they download white papers? So we're tracking our kind of marketing activity to see how many eyes and ears are out there and who is looking at our site as well. So we're very careful about seeing what kind of traffic is on our website, who's checking us out, and being strategic with that from a follow-up. But our biggest opportunity is with our existing clients today. While we are, with each of our clients, usually the largest vendor, if not the only vendor, but we're usually one of the larger ones. But there's still so much more market share for us to get with even our existing clients, because there are multiple relationships and decision makers within each organization that we work with. And so we want to capture just more market share with our existing clients, and that alone will drive massive growth for us. So we've got now, we're now investing and have invested in, we'll say, national architects to drive industry growth, where we had maybe a team before, but they were so focused and their heads were down on driving projects. Now we're investing in a little bit more on the BD side, so that there is a what I call national architect, or a leader on an industry practice that is really driving that strategic growth. So relationship driven, focused on certain existing clients as well as new clients that we're targeting to achieve that organic growth. So it's an investment that the company is making in key leaders, that some that have been inside the organization and some that have been outside, that are just leaders, either existing that have been clients of ours, or that are just leaders in their industry.
Right. Now, before you said your biggest opportunities are within existing clients, because their clients are pretty big and there are different decision makers who span their organization who are working on different projects, right? Is that what you meant by the opportunities within your existing client base?
Correct. So there may be 10 decision makers within a client. So say Verizon, for example. We do work with Verizon. There are 4 other firms that do a lot of work for Verizon on a national basis as well. Well, we want to grab more market share. That maybe we're working with 4 of the 10 decision makers. We want to get all of the market share from those decision makers, but growing into the other decision makers as well.
Right.
They may not know us as well. We may not have that experience, and they have other people they've worked with, but they haven't tried working with Salas O'Brien.
Right. So what's the plan? Do you know who these decision makers are? If not, how do you find them?
Right. So yeah, sometimes we don't know all of them, and we haven't been able to identify them. But that's where we've had our leadership. We've been investing in these industry strategists, we'll say, who are working with our principals, those who are the relationship drivers and who are responsible for project delivery, saying, all right, let's identify who these people are. Let's make sure that we go out and target and get to know them and build that relationship so that they understand, what Salas O'Brien is all about. We share our value and vision statements with them, and listen to them really at the end of the day of what are they looking for, and how does that marry with what Salas O'Brien can deliver. So it's a nurturing of the relationship, because again, it goes back to that trusted relationship. It's hard for people to make change unless somebody's really screwed up. It's hard for those clients to make a change unless they really see a compelling value opportunity, and that's where we need to be more deliberate and more focused. And we've historically just had our head down doing good work, and people keep giving more work to us and more, and then they share the knowledge with others. But we want to make sure that we're growing even more market share, and that means that we got to be a little bit more proactive as opposed to just waiting for good referrals.
Yeah. At one point, when your business gets so big, the referral flow may not be steady enough to drive the organic side of your growth.
Mm-hmm. At least as fast as we may want, right?
Yeah, definitely. Now, you talked a little bit about your value proposition, and maybe I can just kind of recap it from what I've gathered from your from our conversation. Sounds like your value proposition is one, you help institutional investors who would like to have perhaps one single point of contact for regional or nationwide facilities development. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I'd take that further. Maybe I didn't articulate it as clearly, but I'd say clients come to us, one, because they've got several $1 million, it could be a $10 million, it could be a $100 million, it could be a $500 million project. They come to us because they want to make sure that the investment they're making with us in the small fees, that we are helping them limit or minimize or make the appropriate capital expenditure on the facility. But they come to us with a decision to say, I'm going to own this facility for the next 40 years. Tell me what systems I should put in place to ensure they're reliable, that they're energy efficient, so that I'm minimizing my total spend over the next 40 years, which is not just the first third, which is the initial building cost, but also what's the operations and maintenance cost going to be? What is the utility spend going to be over that next 40 years? And discounting that back to today, what's the best decision? So we do that life cycle cost analysis for the client. So you may pay a little bit more upfront, but you're going to save a ton down the road by these decisions. And so clients come to us because they trust we're independent. They know we're going to make the right decision. We know how to engineer it. We know how to tie these into your existing facilities, and they just trust and believe in us. And so those are the primary reasons that people come to us, just because we have the competency and the capability and the experience with these very specialized niche industries, and they know and trust in our decision making. And so combining all of those factors with that technical expertise, that's why people stay with us. I mean, in fact, I don't recall a time where this is hard to imagine. I don't recall a time where we've lost a client. Clients don't go away from us because this is a long-term relationship. People trust our team members. They know they're going to make the right decisions for them. They know we're open book. We're very transparent. We're objective and independent in every way, and we want the best outcomes for our client. And they see that in our decision making and the way we approach it, and we're totally accountable for results for our clients.
Right. Yeah, and it shows with, as well. It kind of goes in line with the retention rate of your employees as well, right? I mean they're probably the linchpin, and it holds it all together because the relationships stick with them and with their clients as well. All right. Just bring back on marketing a little bit. I notice how your company doesn't have any pay-per-click ads that I can see. Your SEO presence not very strong from the tools that I have. What's your marketing team's thoughts on pay-per-click and SEO?
Yeah, we probably could be doing more of it. Because our approach is so targeted with a select type of people and clients that are decision makers who are going to choose Salas O'Brien. So we try to be very, very careful and very targeted in our marketing approach. So usually it's with CFOs of vice presidents, senior vice presidents regarding construction and facilities for major institutions. So it's a select number of people that would be seeking our service. We're not we don't need to be marketing and promoting to everybody in the world or even a broader group. It's a very small slice of people that are going to be selecting us. And oftentimes it's architects that are selecting us, and they may have the lead relationship. So probably about, I'm going to say 35-40% of the work that we get is through architecture firms that have that lead relationship with the clients. And then about 60% of the time, because our work is so engineering focused, is that we will have the lead relationship with the client because they're just heavier engineering projects. So we market and promote to architecture firms, and then we also market and promote directly to clients for larger engineering focused type of projects. So we probably could focus more on SEO, but just on a very targeted basis to these types of customers. So it's something that, hey, we're always open. We're still trying to figure this out every day.
Right. Yeah. Well, marketing, it changes, right? I mean, the technology changes, your audience changes, the messaging has to change, right? Because things change.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a moving target. never
Yeah,
stands still.
there are still a lot of people that we would love to share our story with that have no idea who Salas O'Brien is, and that's the opportunity for us. How do we make that connection and establish the beginning of a relationship so they hear about us and they hear what we do and they go, oh gosh, I need to talk with these guys. These are really talented people, and I could see working with them.
Yeah. Now we discussed this all throughout our conversation so far, and you just kind of highlighted just now briefly. Can you share again who your ideal clients are?
Yeah. So our ideal clients are those that own their real estate typically for the long term, and that really value high competency engineering expertise, where that trusted relationship is expected for the long term. It's like a marriage that they know that we're going to look out for them and we're going to help them evaluate the best decisions for their facilities, so that they're saving money, that they're highly reliable, and that they're the most value to their pocket at the end of the day. They value what's the total life cycle cost analysis going to be of a facility, ensuring that it's 100% reliable at all times. Failure is not an option. The Microsofts of the world, the Apples of the world, the T-Mobiles, the Verizons, the AT&Ts. Imagine if any of their facilities failed. Right? If their facilities failed, it would be millions and millions of dollars of lost revenue on a minute basis. Well, same thing is downtime for most organizations would be expensive. For some of the we work with, it's really expensive, right?
Yeah.
So they come to us going, hey, I trust you. I'm not so worried about the fees. I know you're going to be competitive with it, but make sure that I'm building these facilities and saving a lot of money in the millions and millions of dollars on an annual basis as well. So we take care of smaller firms, smaller clients and projects, and then we do larger projects as well. It's just where technical competency is expected in their complex facilities, and they go, yeah, these are the guys who I can appreciate will do an exceptional job for me, and I know and trust them.
Right. Now, you mentioned before the phrase institutional clients. What in your mind is an institutional client?
Yeah, where they own the real estate for the long term, as opposed to kind of developers who will typically sell a project right after it's built. So institutional clients own the real estate for 40, 50 years type of thing. Yeah, that's typically what I am looking for from a real estate standpoint.
Okay, so the institutional client may be a company like Verizon that's going to be owning their own assets, or it could be a property development firm that intends to own this facility for a long time and lease out the space to
correct. Yep.
The Verizons of the world. Okay.
Yeah, if you're looking for, hey, let me get the quickest build, the quickest, dirtiest, less expensive build, and I'm going to sell this, after it's finished and I get it leased up, great, because they're not going to be worrying about, what the electricity spend is going to be over the next 10 years or 5 years. They don't care about it for 6 months. They just want to sell the property. So ours are, all right, what are the operations and maintenance expenses going to be for that facility? When are you going to have to replace out the equipment? When are the systems going to fail and you're going to have to replace them all out? How much is it going to cost you from electricity, month after month? Well, that right eats your bottom line. If we can put a system in that's $100,000 more, but it's going to save you $40,000 more a year, does that make sense? Of course it does. So these are the decisions that we help our clients make.
Right. Those that have a long-term focus.
Exactly.
Yep. All right. And what's the best way for those ideal clients to get in touch with you and your team?
Gosh, you can call. I'm available all over the web. You can see me, Darin.Anderson at salasobrien.com. My phone number, 949-338-9394. I am always available, and our team, you can see us. We're not hard to find. Just type in Salas O'Brien and look up any of us, and we're there to respond almost, we'll call it 24/7.
Yeah. Would you like to spell out your name and email? Because Darin and Anderson can be spelled a couple different ways.
Yeah. No, thanks, Malcolm. It's Darin, Darin, Anderson, Anderson, at Salas O'Brien, SALASOB as in boy, RIEN.com.
All right. And one last question for you. If you wanted to have a billboard for Salas O'Brien on one of the freeways in California that are moving quickly, not that it always happens that often, but when you do have that rare occasion, what would your billboard message be? And keep in mind, people only have about 6 seconds before they drive by a billboard.
If you have an engineering challenge or a facility that you want the best, call Salas O'Brien. You will never regret it. We will take great care of you.
All right, got it. It's been great having you on my show, Darin. I really enjoyed hearing how you grew your company so fast.
Yeah, thank you, Malcolm. I appreciate what you do to help get the stories of entrepreneurs out there in the marketplace. We need more of it. So it's a pleasure for me to be one of those you interviewed. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. We've been speaking with Darin Anderson, the chairman and CEO of Salas O'Brien, about his company's rapid growth. For interviews with other fast-growing, high-value sales companies, or to learn how we can accelerate your firm's high-value sales through automation, visit eversprint.com.